We saw BLACKkKLANSMAN.
You're goddamn right we did.
I had to say it like that, too.
Going into this movie, what did you think?
I was excited.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't even see a trailer for this movie, I don't think.
Really? I love the trailer for this movie.
I don't think you guys might have tried to show me it, and then we got distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, cool, I'm excited just by the premise. I just want to preface this review with Spike Lee is a mastermind of film.
Have you seen Do the Right Thing?
Yes, fantastic. Absolutely
so good.
Fantastic.
Love that movie.
The way he shoots his movies is so simple, but so effective.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it in Do the Right Thing a lot. And in this movie, I remember a specific scene where I was like, I really like the way the scene's shot. I really like that. Because it was like doing like a side-to-side, up and down. It was when they were all in the room. And he was like, all right, guys, sit the fuck down. And the camera sits down. And I'm like, oh, I like that.
I didn't love this movie. I have positives and negatives. My positives outweigh the negatives.
All right, so let's talk about the negatives.
I want to start with positives because there's a lot I want to say about positives first, and I kind of want to just jump right into it. I think that this is just Jordan Peele producing. This is that good shit. This is what I go to see movies for. Like my number one, my guilty pleasure is superhero movies. But right under that are clever, well-written comedies with a lot of heart and intent and character moments.
Yep.
And it's got a lot of funny jokes. Sure, a lot of them are racially based. Like just whenever the main black cop just yells like racial slurs over the phone to David Duke, that's hilarious. The filmmakers know that's comedy gold, and it hits me in such a...
my pickle.
You're gosh darn right, it tickles my pickle too. Filmmaking, you're right. I love the characters.
The soundtrack in this movie was fantastic.
Soundtrack was... Whenever it's like someone was like driving a vehicle to any event in this movie, it played like... or something like that. That's Rodan's theme song. I'm sorry, from Godzilla. No, so the characters are really what take it for me. They make this movie as great as it is, and... If you look at Adam Driver's character, and it's
Adam Driver was so fucking good in this movie.
Absolutely. I loved his character Kylo Ren more so in Last Jedi than I did in Force Awakens, but this ranks right up there with being brilliantly told because at the start of the movie you just think that he's a man who is Jewish, yes, and he infiltrates the KKK and pretends to be racist. You at first think that he's just someone who's accepted who he is and he's just this is an operation, it's totally fine.
Yep, because he plays it like that.
Exactly. And then halfway through the movie when he has that little spiel about, like, I was kind of raised like a white guy and I didn't really know I was Jewish. And then you kind of hear him say, like, oh, well, I guess that counts as passing or whatever. And he holds the KKK card and he's like, I don't want that. You feel the pain when he throws that away after he last scene yelled, like, a racial slur at that black cop he's talking to. You know what I mean? Like, to sell the role. And you just hear the heartache in his voice when he has to, like, continue going through this clan and stuff like that and has to keep rising up the ranks and they want him to be like the fucking head of the KKK or something like that.
The chapter
guy
leader.
Yeah, exactly.
And when he said that, he's like, I didn't even think about it. Now I'm thinking about it every fucking night.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. Like you really step into his role as like a man who feels tormented by what he's doing.
Yeah.
And like you didn't get that at first. You just kind of thought he was like really cool and collected, and he is. But as it goes on, you see him become more and more affected by what's happening. And then juxtapose that with the main black cop who is determined to stop them, but also in a way where it's like he has something to prove because he's a rookie cop. You know what I mean? Like, so like he's the only black cop on the force, sure, but more so than that, he's brand new. And he wants something to make everyone go, wow, you're a fucking great detective or whatever. Again, this is stuff that you can infer by watching the characters and not stuff where characters just sit down and go, I really wish that I could prove myself to be, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that
less
sucks.
good movies do. But I fucking love the two main leads they drive it, the villains, the KKK members.
Great.
Every horror movie I've seen this year, I think. Maybe Hereditary outright. Except for Hereditary. Every horror movie has not been as scary as when Adam Driver fucks up his alibi that he spoke on the phone to earlier to him when he said his dad was from Dallas and then, or rather El Paso, and then he accidentally said it was from Dallas instead. So every KKK member in the room who we've seen what they do to people who aren't white guys, and they get a hint or a whiff that he might be lying as like a cop because that's what they're paranoid about. I thought you said he was from Dallas or something like that.
I thought you said he was from El Paso.
El Paso, yeah. He starts to stand up out of his chair and like reach for something. That's fucking horrifying. Imagine if you're in that room and you're like Jewish or whatever. I'd dart out of the room. Or if I had a gun, I'd just like pull it out immediately. Be like, get on the ground, I would blow my cover. I would not be able to do that. That's scary shit.
The main black guy, I don't know his name actually. I don't know the actor's name.
Look it up.
Was great. You saw him go from being the suck-up cop, because he was like a suck-up at the beginning. It's like, yes, sir, no, sir, thank you, sir, like that.
Well, he's smart, because that's what you kind of got to do.
But after he meets Patrice, and after he goes to that meeting, you see him, like, start to empower himself a little bit more and more every time. And you see him transition from, like, this kind of, like, black guy trying to integrate himself into white society into more of a, I need to be proud of who I am kind of person.
Absolutely.
And that's a really good... They did a great job writing the character.
Mm-hmm. I also
Adam Driver's character was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Driver was probably the best character in the movie.
I loved... Spike Lee is really good at doing this. He'll have, like, a group of, like, racist people mask what their true intent is. Mm-hmm. So, like, for example, Kwame, the speaker, was saying, all power to all people at the end of the speech, but the whole speech was about how they have to, like Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan, where he's like, we have to kill all the white guys, or white cops rather, because they're killing us, so we gotta kill them first. He's literally talking about a race war, and then at the end he's like, all power to all people, you know, keep it fresh. We're all
I don't know if that was exactly... I think it was more of a self-defense thing, is what he was trying to get at. Well, not, like, actually kill them, like,
yes,
flat out.
But his whole philosophy, it's like Magneto from X-Men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, Magneto from X-Men is wrong, because extinguishing a race of people in retaliation for trying to extinguish a race of people is a wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
But...
genocide is bad.
Yeah, genocide is bad on both sides, but as a general philosophy. But no, I really liked how he was... because that scene, to me, was kind of saying, like, he rallied people up under the guise of equality, and it's trying to be something a little bit more dangerous than that. You know what I mean? And then the girl... the fucking president, who was also a great, fucking great characters.
She a baddie though.
She real good.
She a baddie.
She kind of exemplified those points of like, you gotta stand up for what you believe in, and you doing this is wrong, and you gotta do this all the time, otherwise you're not doing anything, and that's kind of like
extreme.
Extreme, yeah.
I think she mellows out a little bit.
Yeah,
it's good. But
so, I have negatives too. Do you have negatives?
The villains of the movie were scary. Felix, especially, that guy he was onto him from the start.
Oh yeah, he was nuts. He's like, you could just tell in his eyes, and then he only got more nuts as the movie went on.
Yeah. And also, Topher Grace.
Topher Grace's David Duke is masterpiece.
Oh, masterpiece.
So good.
The entire like subtext of the movie too is about today's America. Obviously, they did a good job with the little things that were said throughout the movie. I was like, all right, that's clever, and I like that. A lot of those are like KKK and Nazi things to be said in general at start. Like, America First was a Germany First Nazi thing. And then the KKK adopted that.
Definitely.
And then our president adopted that.
Yeah,
for some reason.
With his campaign slogan, yep.
And then, like, the little stuff at the end where David Duke himself, like the actual David Duke, not Eric Foreman,
and
was like, the president's talking about this, and I was just like...
Well, you pointed it out that when David Duke spoke at the end in the actual clip, you were like, wow, Topher Grace
did a really good job.
Fucking nailed that.
He's really talented.
Oh, absolutely.
I was just...
An underrated movie, in my opinion, in your opinion as well, Predators. I thought, because he played... I don't want to spoil it, but he's a certain important character in that movie, and... He does a fantastic job really all the way through.
Yep.
Like, if nothing else, Topher Grace's performance in Predators is amazing. But
that movie, I like Predators.
I love Predators.
And you know what? Every single character in this movie was just really good. That was very well written of a movie. The soundtrack was great. The camera, well done. Well done directing, Spike. Fantastic.
Excellent work, Spike. We're cool enough with him. We can call him on his first name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Lee.
SL. For short. So, do you have any negatives?
You go.
Okay. So, we were both kind of praising how great the subtext was about how, oh yeah, it's kind of leads into how it's relevant to today.
Yeah.
But then that subtext at the end of the movie kind of became text, and then Spike Lee decided to literally put real clips of like Donald Trump speeches at the end of this KKK movie from the 70s about this certain sting operation. And it's an important message, and I'm not taking away how important that message is, and I would never want to like be like, oh, you're wrong for doing that or saying that. I just think in the context of this period piece, because it's like it's a 70s true story about this certain event that happened, and there are parallels today, and you can pull clips from today. That's true.
And there were clips pulled from today.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually.
But I just think that you juxtaposing KKK speeches with Trump speeches, you're now flat out saying that Trump is a racist. And now your movie is becoming another Trump is a racist post on Facebook or BuzzFeed. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was a brilliant piece of art with a lot of subtext, and it has all of those things. And then at the end, it's just Spike Lee might as well just look at the camera and say, Trump bad. Look how bad Trump is. It was so well done with the message you're trying to sell up to that point that I think after that point, you're, at the very least, you're just pandering to a certain Democratic Party. You know what I mean? And we're not a political show. I stay apolitical when we stay on here.
Alec Baldwin at the beginning of the movie reminded me so much of Alex Jones.
Oh, I love the intro with Alec Baldwin being like one of the fucking
frothing racist.
That was
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Boss baby himself.
He grew up into this old racist
awesome,
man.
dude.
I like to think that the Boss Baby is a prequel to fucking BLACKkKLANSMAN because all this 60 years later, he's just this old frothing racist.
No, but I agree with you about the text. I rather would have kept it as subtext. You can put in today's clips, like from the rallies, to show change isn't there. Or we are regressing because that hasn't happened in public, like, for a little bit. Like, not mass public. I'd be like, we need to stop that.
Yeah.
But when you bring the overly political part into it is when the subtext gets lost a little bit. Because you can keep the subtext and then still show that it's today. That's not a big deal. Like the Charlottesville rally, and when, like, the car that just plowed into all those people, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That shows that it's still not solved, and you're like...
Yeah, it's a powerful message.
But at the same time, once you bring in, like, the speeches, if you keep the Trump stuff out of it and just have David Duke talk about a president, still subtext, because it's not directly showing, there it is.
Exactly. I think it would have been a better movie if he...
just that one clip, too.
Yeah.
It's one clip.
It's just... This is our hot shit in media right now, are these clips and stuff that's happening in the world, and movies have a way of doing this thing where after you've watched and or liked the movie or didn't like the movie, you'll look at an event that happens in the news and be like, oh, it's kind of similar to, oh, that's the point of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can kind of piece things together in your head. With this, he's not letting us piece anything together. He's just flat out telling us what's happening. And I feel like at the end, and again, I keep saying that because the 2 hours up until that point was really, I'm not going to say like a masterpiece, but like really fucking well done. You know what I mean? And my other criticism, a lot of editing and continuity was damn near abysmal. And this is just like little like half-second fragments of things between scenes that like drove me nuts as a guy who edits stuff. Like there's a scene at the end where Adam Driver sits down like, oh, ha, we record you with the microphone. And he reaches out to shake the girlfriend's hand. And it jump cuts to a different angle, and his hand is on his drink. And it's like, okay, well, this isn't an intentional jump cut because the conversation is continuing. Or the fucking bodyguard, the main guy playing the bodyguard, where the two KKK members stand next to him and tell him to stay here. His head was looking down, and it jump cutted to a different angle, same exact situation, where his head is just looking up. And it's like, they're still talking to you in the same manner that they were, implying that no time has passed. They have that thing where, they did it in Thor Ragnarok at one. I remember it. Well, Thor Ragnarok has an excuse, and I'll get to that. But David Duke on the phone with him laughed at a joke that the detective said, and it showed a clip. It showed like visually on screen. It was the detective on the phone, and you can hear David Duke laughing over the phone. And then 1 second later, it cuts to David Duke saying, "I gotta meet you," and it's dead serious. So in real life, what they're trying to say is that he just went, "Ha, I gotta meet you," which humans don't do. You know what I mean? But again, it's like obviously they shot a bunch of different takes and they got a bunch of different selections and put them together. But it's how they're put together that makes it feel realistic, and it took me out of it. There's a scene in Thor Ragnarok where Hulk and Thor are sitting on a bed. It's a stupid movie. And Hulk laughs at a joke that Thor said, and he smiles and looks to the ground. And then it goes to a shot of Thor looking at the ground and looking left at Hulk. And it's a continuity thing, cool. And then you hear Thor's monologue, "I need you to do something for me." Which means that Thor just went, "I need you to do something for me." Which humans don't fucking do!
Yeah.
It doesn't ebb and flow naturally like a conversation.
You're right.
And Ragnarok, that's like one bit that I've picked out that kind of took me out of it at one point.
Yeah.
BLACKkKLANSMAN has that at least like 5 or 6 or 7 times throughout the movie. And at a certain point, it gets distracting because I can pick out exactly what scenes they said, oh, just do some improv and we'll take the best bits. And then they didn't connect them correctly. You know what I mean? Comedies have this. I'm more forgiving about comedies because they're comedies. Everything's shot and lit the same and framed the exact same way. So it's whatever.
Since this movie had very good direction and camera
it's like an actual like drama or like a biographical crime drama. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, that kind of took me out of it, and that honestly, those editing things bumped it down from like an 8 to a 7. So
I don't think it's close to a 9.
I don't think it's on my top 10 this year. It should be. Sorry to Bother You is a lot better.
Sorry to Bother You was amazing.
I love Sorry to Bother You. BLACKkKLANSMAN I think is really good.
I think it's a step below Sorry to Bother You, but still good enough to be on my top 10 list, which is good.
And the high points are really high. Like, everything with, again, the writing, the characters, everything as far as that goes is wonderful. But I don't know what the fuck editor Spike Lee got for this movie. He needs a new one because he's a brilliant director and he's done brilliant things.
And you know what I like about this movie that I haven't mentioned yet? I like the end. Where after he's like trying to help and save it, and the cops beat the shit out of him.
Oh my god, that was like... That's what, similar to what Get Out was gonna do at the end, except that Get Out was gonna be even scarier. Well, like, Get Out was gonna go for like a horror depression angle. Yeah. This is more for like a, oh no, there's conflict, also this is a real actual issue. Again, subtext,
amazing,
excellent,
beautiful,
great shit. A lot better than the clips at the
Adam
end.
Driver's like, you fucking idiots, he's undercover. Wait, the black guy's a cop.
Exactly.
He said that.
The black guy said he's a cop, cop said get on the ground. Adam Driver says he's a cop, he says, what?
Him in the stomach.
Yeah. Literally.
And
like, they didn't believe the black cop any at all.
After the explosion, they're like, oh no, we fucked up.
Exactly. That's completely on them.
And on top of it, this movie didn't end happy. They have to burn everything from the investigation because of budget cuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a happy ending.
It's a terrible end. I mean, it's a great ending, but like it's a terrible, like, sad note to end it on. And
because everything they just did, because of the system that they've been placed in, is gone. I think the reason that this movie's closer to a 9... a high 8, like a 8.5 to 9, whatever, is because the high points in this movie are brilliantly done.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And the low point, I didn't notice a lot of the editing stuff. I don't see it right away. I'll probably see it if we watch it a second time. I'll see it.
Yeah.
But on top of that, without taking the whole end part of the movie where they show the real life stuff into thing, because I feel like that's after the movie to me. That felt like a mid-credits scene. The high points in this movie are fantastic. Brilliant. The characters are brilliant. The sound editing and soundtrack is great. And just the way it's shot puts you into it and like just clicks you. And this movie's realistic enough where even if it wasn't shot as well, I'd still be pretty into it.
Go see Slenderman.